today's class we will be talking about ovarian cycle, and ovarian cycle is something which is most important in women, and it's a normal process that happens whereby there is always a large interplay of the hormones involved, and we'll see like what are the different phases that are involved in the ovarian cycle and the hormones involved. So you have the follicular phase, the ovulation and the luteal phase. You have three phases: the follicular phase, the ovulation and the luteal phase. So in the follicular phase, which is the start of the whole system or the ovarian cycle, you have the proliferation of the granulosa cells and formation of zona pellucida, formation of theca cells and estrogen secretion, formation of antrum, as well as formation of mature follicle. So the time where the primordial follicle matures and develops into a mature follicle with mature oocyte, that process happens during the follicular phase. So the ovarian cycle is controlled by the hypothalamus, and which is in fact influenced by higher centers within the brain, which are important for stress as well as anxiety. So in the follicular phase, that is from day 1 to day 8, FSH and LH are relatively high, and it stimulates the development of 10 to 20 follicles, which results in full maturation of a single dominant follicle appearing in mid follicular phase. So under normal conditions, in a single cycle only a single follicle will mature. It is when you go for like infertility treatment, or there is a problem with your system where more than like your hormone levels are very high, and sometimes more than one oocyte can develop at the same time. So normal condition, there will only be one oocyte at a particular time period, and the remainder of the follicles undergo are destroyed or removed from the system. So the high LH and FSH is triggered by a drop in estrogen and progesterone levels in the last cycle. So the estrogen levels start to rise as soon as the follicular development increases. So in the second set of days, that is from day 9 to 14, also called the follicular phase, the follicle will start to increase in size, and there is localized accumulation of fluid among the cells, and you get a fluid filled central cavity called the antrum, that is inside the follicle. So the transforming occurs of primary follicle to secondary or Graafian follicle or mature follicle, and the oocyte occupies an eccentric position, that is, it is surrounded by 2 to 3 layers of granulosa cells, and any rise or increase in estrogen levels are associated with follicular maturation, and inhibin, which is produced by the granulosa cells, will restrict the number of follicles that are maturing at the same time. Day 14 or in some women it can be day 15, so around day 14 or day 15 it is called the ovulation time, and the in the ovulation period what happens is there is a rapid enlargement of the follicle or the mature follicle, and there is a rupture of the follicle which results in a release of the oocyte and the adherent cumulus oophorus, or the cells which are found adherent to the oocyte. So like some people may experience pain during the process of ovulation, and this pain is called as Mittelschmerz, right? So the increase in estrogen levels, that is a mid-cycle surge of LH, and to a lesser extent of FSH, causes ovulation. So immediately before ovulation there is a decrease in the estrogen levels and an increase in the progesterone levels. So the ovulation follows within 18 hours of mid-cycle surge of LH. So the luteinizing hormone will increase during this period, and once the luteinizing hormone increases, ovulation is followed within 18 hours. And if you do not have a required LH surge or an increase, then the ovulation process is inhibited, and this is called as anovulatory phase. Right? If the ovulation happens, it's called ovulatory phase, and if the ovulation does not happen, in the case of insufficient luteinizing hormone concentrations, then it's called the anovulatory phase. Third and the final phase is the luteal phase, that is from days 15 to 28, where the remainder of the follicle is retained inside the ovary, and it's penetrated by capillaries and fibroblasts from the theca, and it undergoes luteinization, forming the corpus luteum. So in the corpus luteum, it acts as a major source of sex hormones, that is estrogen and progesterone, and it is secreted during the post-ovulatory phase. This leads to a marked increase in progesterone and estrogen concentrations. So if conception and implantation occurs, corpus luteum does not regress or does not degrade, and it's maintained by gonadotropins secreted by trophoblast cells. If conception doesn't occur, then the corpus luteum will regress and menstruation occurs. So there is a decrease in the steroid sex hormones, leading to rise in gonadotropin levels, which initiates the next cycle. Thank you.